Good day everyone, so today we'll see how a C6 Candace plays with Clorinde. You'll notice that my Candace has a lot of energy recharge because we really do need it. You need about 250 plus. Clorinde here is pretty stock standard, as you can see. So most people that love Clorinde would probably try and go for this type of build. My Nahida I've nerfed a bit just to make the results more comparable to what you might experience when playing the game. And we are running Kokomi here with the Thrilling Tails and not the Tenacity set. So the Ocean You Clam damage definitely comes in handy, but as you get more and more constellations on Clorinde, obviously you can then go onto the Tenacity set. So that is the team that we'll be running, and on the second halves I'll run a bit of a circus team for you. I call it a circus team because it's all over and it's a ton of fun, so look forward to that. So what is the idea here with the Clorinde team? Well, basically, you want Nahida to give Clorinde lots of EM because this is in fact a Hyperbloom team. You want Candace to effectively give you that Hydra application as well as that normal attack bonus. Not normal attack, increased damage bonus, and then obviously Kokomi to give Clorinde the attack buff with the Thrilling Tails. And effectively what this means is that you're padding out the Genshin Impact damage equation, and hence you'll be able to do quite a bit of damage with Clorinde, which is the idea here. And obviously if the situation calls for it, as you can see in the background, you can also just do a bit of a cleanup with Kokomi as your other little sub or like standby DPS, if you will. In any case, here is the circus in the background, so this has got nothing to do with rotations and stuff. This is just being as fun and silly as possible. So with that being said and playing out, let's talk a bit more about the Candace Clorinde duo. I also tested a couple of other teams. I tested, like, instead of Kokomi, what happens if you put Dea into a team. And one of the problems I have is that even at 233% ER, you are just not consistently getting that Candace elemental burst. Although the comfiness of using Dea certainly does make up for it, but then again on the final floor, that lack of uptime on your burst and also enemy dispersion really starts hurting you, as well as the ambiguity of like what you're going to trigger in terms of Burgeon, in terms of Hyperbloom, which could sometimes also hurt your DPS, which is just something to note. In any case, the other team I also tested was Beidou, which was also very comfy, but once again you then start running into energy recharge issues. Even if you've got those ER sands and ER like weapons, it's just there's a certain comfiness in terms of the interruption resistance and so on, but like with Xingshu as well, there are obvious trade-offs to it which you can't always just overcome, so you'll definitely need really good artifacts, and then the teams become really solid. Right, so getting back to where we were, you can see here against the Nemesis of Coppelius, all we're doing is pretty standard stuff, trying to reduce their health, trying to parry when we can because we have that advantage, and here we are just simply dodging. You can see Anami dodging almost in reverse. Like once you start learning the patterns, it's incredibly easy. And then right here at the end, this is something I personally like doing, and that is just slowing down a bit. The idea here is to just build up some of those elemental burst and energy recharge for the final floor, as well as show you how incredibly easy it is to actually dodge the enemy's attack. If you just spend a bit of time doing this, you'll see it's pretty simple. So yeah, not the fastest clear, but certainly very comfy from my side. Other things to note about Clorinde is that one of her interesting gimmicks, or well, I shouldn't say gimmick, but the interesting thing about her is that her playstyle revolves around you getting attacks off as fast and as frequently as possible, and if you've got a means of manipulating Bond of Life, well, that's going to be even better. But there is obviously then the trade-off that she is doing a lot less damage, and you can certainly understand that with the rise of Fontaine characters. You can see like with Navia in the background, Arlecchino, even Linny, all of them have extremely high damage thresholds, and you don't notice that big damage number on the screen, and I think that's why some people are very kind of like upset with Clorinde, that they don't just get the big nuke and then they can wipe the floor with everything, because they discount the fact that if you attack very often and very fast, well, that is going to really make up the bulk of the damage. So it's a different way of dealing damage, and unfortunately like I said yesterday, I don't think the Spiral Abyss is necessarily the best place to showcase the type of damage you can do with Clorinde. But in my personal opinion, and this is just me talking out loud, I think they wanted you to get Clorinde's constellations. I think they locked a bit of the power or more of the power behind the constellations when balancing the character, because those constellations are really, really insane in terms of the not just damage bump up but the utility as well. You practically don't even need Xingshu anymore, because that's at C6 and stuff. That interruption to resistance and being able to at C2 I think as well is just incredibly crazy. That's what I've seen from all of the showcases, by the way. Regardless, so here we are on the final floor. We're going to do the normal things, use the piercing shots to hit both of these little fat Fatui at the same time. So this is the other advantage that you get with Clorinde, and this is perhaps why they decided to tone down her damage. That's because she is self-sustaining in a sense. She does pierce enemies with her attack, so in a certain sense I can understand that there might have been some balance concerns with it, or they might have also had some other future characters that they would in fact think might work really well with Clorinde, and hence they balanced around some of those other characters, which would be just pure speculation from my part. Regardless, as you can see here, we're just going through the usual rotations and motions, ensuring that we get like a proper cooldown cycle going, having our cooldowns ready, the jellyfish ready, stacking all of the damage in the damage equation whilst Clorinde is on her downtime, and then we'll just start hitting the enemy if we get the chance. So yes, unfortunately at C0, if you don't position well, you do get interrupted with Clorinde. Boom. There we go, with Kokomi, and that pretty much finishes it. So yeah, I do think you can work with Clorinde and Candace. I think you don't need an insane amount of artifacts to do so, but like with the Chi-Chi variant and the other variants that I've also shown on the channel and that you might have seen other people do, a big function of your success is your artifact set, and how well you've built your Clorinde. That's going to give you more flexibilities, whereas I think in certain teams, if you don't meet that threshold, it really becomes kind of uncomfortable to play. But regardless, I don't see Clorinde as being like a problematic unit. It's just that she's got a lot of different teams and she is a difficult character to play around, and once you sort of start mastering it, it can really be rewarding and just fun in a different way. So that is what I've got to say about it. And as we end off this video, here is the circus also finishing off what they're doing. It's incredibly fun to play that as well, which is what I'm all about. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Cheers.